The year was 1961. That spring, we sent our first man into space. Alan Shepard circled the Earth in a satellite. That fall, Roger Maris hit home run number 61. Any time at all that year, you could buy a pound of Loft's chocolates for $1.70. And for a quarter beer down at Gertie's Folk City in the Village, you could hear this baby-faced singer with a raspy voice sing a new kind of folk song. A kid who called himself Bob Dylan. If you're wondering what all that has to do with the Pine Barrens here in Ocean County, New Jersey, well, Bel Air, California has a very similar topography. Unfortunately, that's where the similarity ends. You see, Bel Air is what most of us mean when we say Hollywood. Huge homes surrounded by iron gates, winding roads through mountain brush on a mountain that sits in between Los Angeles proper and the San Fernando Valley. In 1961, Bel Air's residents included Marlon Brando, Kim Novak, Burt Lancaster, Ginger Rogers, Cary Grant. One November day, the brush erupted into flames. The stars who lived there, their homes were in danger, and so were their lives. The date was November 6th, a day of disaster. It whips in from the desert at 50 miles an hour, unbearably hot. It leaves everything in its path bone dry. In Los Angeles, it's called a Santana, the devil wind. When a Santana blows, automobile accidents rise 12%. Suicide attempts almost double. And the dry hills that surround the city explode in fire. Monday, November 6th, 1961. For 5 straight days, Los Angeles has been swept by a severe Santana. Now dry as a tinderbox, the city of the angels has become a potential hell. At 8:03 a.m., the Los Angeles Fire Department orders a maximum alert. The chance for the outbreak of a brush fire is up to 98%. Only 12 minutes later, at 8:15, the alarm sounds. Sweeps the inferno through gullies and over hills, already consuming 13 acres a minute. The wind forces the flames down the mountainside in a two-pronged spearhead into Bel Air. 7,000 people live in the more than 2,000 homes which lie in the path of the flames.
Here's how you start in a business. You start broken hungry with a little broken down trailer. Then you design, patent an ice cream store in an ice cream machine and a round flying saucer cracker that everybody tries to simulate. And then you make America's freshest ice cream. Gourmet, premium quality ice cream made fresh. And then you people have supported us for 47 years, and we are very proud. And we want to thank you for your patronage.
The Democrats have been the in-party in Trenton for 8 years, and that's meant some real ups and downs. Taxes are way up, but manufacturing and construction jobs are down. State spending is up, but new housing starts are down. Crime is up, but test scores in our schools are down. Now, when what's up should be down, and what's down should be up, maybe it's time for the ins to be out. Time to vote Republican for a change.
It takes less than 3 minutes for the fire department to reach the scene, and they call for help immediately.
The fire is coming down into the Bel Air properties here, and probably will go across Chelan into additional structures. We need a few mobile units here. We need truck assistance. That's on Roscommare, Chelan, Chantilly, Bel Air, Stradella, the works. About 10 truck companies be minimum. The fire is over the top. It's heading straight down Stone Canyon. I suggest we get companies in on Stone Canyon. We get companies
8:26, a bare 11 minutes after the initial alarm, a major emergency is declared, activating all police, civil defense, public utilities, and medical disaster groups. Fire department companies are committed. Most of the county's 73 cities move up their firefighting equipment for replacement.
To evacuate these people. We are going to lose some civilians if we don't get them out of here. 10733 Stradella Court. There's a lady here having difficulty breathing. She's been sick and trapped in this fire. We have a school bus trapped on 2425 Roscommon Road. The children are out. The driver and the bus are trapped. We've got a report of 4 people trapped on foot between Chelan and Roscommon. We need help from the police department. In the ambulance at 2025 Stradella Road. Indian fireman. 850 Linda Flora. The house is on fire and there's a lady trapped.
Mobility essential to effective firefighting is practically eliminated because Bel Air's back streets are confusing mountain winding roads, some going around in circles. Children from 6 schools in the potentially dangerous area must be evacuated. By 9 o'clock, only 34 minutes after the emergency declaration, a full-scale evacuation begins. Police warn Los Angeles of the imminent danger. Radio and television stations broadcast emergency instructions, urging an orderly evacuation of all homes. Police set up roadblocks to keep the spectators out. Roads are closed to all but emergency vehicles and to all but escaping survivors. Ironically, both the police and fire department's helicopters are grounded for repairs. The local radio station offers its traffic watch helicopter to give fire officials an airborne observation post. At Van Nuys Airport, just over the hills in LA's San Fernando Valley, air tankers are loaded with borate, a solution of refined borax and water. Dropped from the air, it smothers flames. By 9:25, the first of 16 tankers is in the air, but there's danger involved in the use of the bombers. The tankers must make runs at low altitudes over treacherous terrain subject to the fierce, hot Santana wind and thermal drafts. Visibility is obscured by smoke and flying debris. Direct air-to-ground communications are complicated by the need to relay messages and vital instructions. Refuse to evacuate in a futile last-ditch effort to save their homes.
Fire at Moraga Drive and Bellagio Road is going south rapidly. We need some companies up here on Bellagio Road to help stop it. There's at least 30 to 40 houses in Roscommon, another 30 to
save homes and structures, but as the wind sends great showers of burning cinders and branches into the air, the fire literally flies over them. In the beauty and lush profusion of the Bel Air landscape lie the seeds of the community's destruction. Picturesque homes with thick wooden shingles and large overhanging eaves that simply add fuel to the flames.
I thought Cons was good. I didn't believe they could put that good a meat in there.
Shoppers at this store were really surprised to see what goes into Cons beef franks.
This is good.
If this type of meat is in this hot dog, then it's good meat.
I didn't know they were that good. I knew they were good with that.
Only first quality cuts of beef. No fillers ever with Cons.
Cons brand was new to me, but I've used it and I like it.
I trust Cons.
Great meat makes great franks. Depend on Cons.
I'm going to be the greatest athlete in the world.
A competitor who wouldn't be beaten.
She has broken a second world's record.
Babe Dietrichson, competing now for her life.
If she didn't have the operation, how long would she have?
A year, maybe.
Alex Karras and Susan Clark.
The Associated Press has just voted you Woman Athlete of the Year.
The story of America's most honored female athlete, Babe.
George, I'm still a winner, aren't I?
Tomorrow on the 4:30 movie.
Wind and terrain are just two problems the firefighters face. There's a third, even more serious. Bel Air is just one of a series of hillside communities that ring Los Angeles. The thousands of people who live in the other communities are frightened the fire will spread their way. They water their lawns and water down the roofs of their houses, causing a severe water shortage. A shortage the firefighters try to compensate for, fighting this fire with water pumped out of Bel Air's swimming pools. And in Bel Air, every home has a swimming pool. By 11 o'clock, 200 pieces of firefighting apparatus are now committed to the raging inferno. Men and equipment are stretched to their limit, battling the fire along a 20-mile perimeter.
8:50 Linda, Florida. The house is on fire and there's a lady trapped. One ambulance is on the way. At 8:50 Linda, Florida. We have the lady. We're coming out. Engine 7. Pick a house that has either just started to burn or not yet has started to burn. But don't pick one of those that's fully involved. That fire is going to spot across Beverly Glen, east of Beverly Glen. I could use 78 there. Do the best we can. We have something.
By noon, 1,500 firemen and 250 military men are on the line. Companies leapfrog one another, battling to save houses and attempting to prevent the movement of the flames into new areas as the blaze continues to devour more and more. Shortly after noon, the adjoining community of Brentwood is invaded.
We've got reports of fire everywhere down here. This fire jumps to Palmetto Boulevard, up on Bond Hill and on Tiger Tail. We're losing them by the score. Engine 19 at the top of Kenner Canyon. We have 3 houses gone. We're out of water and there are no hydrants. 1674 Bel Air Road. Oh, we got one house here that's involved. We've got trouble at Mount St. Mary's College. We've got another college building going now, a 2-story building. If we had one more company, I need 2 now. We have a man down here at the very top of the Mount St. Mary's College. Would you send up an ambulance, please? We have companies responding in the Mount St. Mary's area. If you get any more companies available, divert them to 1200 block of North Bundy Drive. There's over 9 and real trouble there. Don't pick one of those that's fully involved. 10-4.
By 12:56 p.m., due to the extreme wind conditions, no fire lines can exist. It's impossible to make a stand anywhere. At this crucial moment, a new, completely separate fire breaks out only 7 miles west. Topanga Canyon is ablaze. As the wild Bel Air Fire sweeps westward toward Topanga Canyon, the danger of the situation becomes apparent. When and if these two fires merge, there are not enough firefighting forces in all of California to contain the monstrous holocaust. Within an hour, fanned by the Santana, the new Topanga fire is engulfing hundreds of acres. Firefighters from outside communities, together with federal and state forces, take on this new threat. Wide fire roads in the path of this new menace. Massive backfiring has begun to confine the spread. Now at Bel Air, the blaze begins to multiply its own terror. The elements combine to make firestorms. Flames consume oxygen so swiftly that outside air is sucked in at speeds up to 100 miles an hour. The fire is fanned to temperatures approaching 10,000 degrees. Houses literally explode from the intense heat, shooting flaming debris into the air, igniting more homes.
Any help with delay will have to come from the bottom. Danella Circle and Roscommare Road. Unless we have companies that can lay into these individual houses, we are going to begin losing more houses on Roscommare. Are there more truck companies available either in West LA or in the downtown area? There are none available in West LA. As houses go on both sides of the street, the 1700 block Roscommare, there are about 15 houses involved at the corner of Anzio Road and Roscommare. On top of Stradella, I can see the fire on the west side of Roscommare. It has jumped at least 500 feet further south. On the 1800 block, Bel Air Road. The police department states they have evacuated everyone there. There are several houses burning. There is no equipment there. There are 2 engine companies responding to that location.
Afternoon, a break appears. The Santana has subsided. Without these gale force winds, the firemen are more evenly matched against the blaze. With no wind fanning the flames by air, fire lines could be maintained on the ground. Some exhausted firemen and bone-weary crews are pulled off the line for rest and food. The Salvation Army, the Red Cross, and other volunteer groups feed them thousands of sandwiches and gallons of coffee. Mobile medics treat more than 200 civilians and firemen. Santana has abated, but now LA's normal wind patterns off the ocean begin to fan the fire the other way. The wind's intensity, although not close to that of the early hours of the fire, is still a threat. At 5 o'clock, the fire begins to descend into Mandeville Canyon, where 150 homes are located. The westward movement must be halted here, where the fire will surely join with the raging Topanga blaze, now only 1 canyon away. 50 engine companies move in.
Beginning to run into one another and over one another. We need help from the police department. The police department is being dispatched.
We'll be back in a moment with the conclusion of our...
Acme is rolling out a sale on Del Monte. We've reduced over 50 prices on favorites like fruit cocktail, Other favorites like green beans, green peas, grapefruit juice, and many more. What variety, what a sale. Over 50 Del Monte products reduced. And if you buy them by the case, you get them at our cost. So stock up at Acme, your store for low Del Monte prices. Tell a friend.
Mr. Howie wants to be a do-it-yourselfer, but he's not sure how. Help! He came to Sentry Hardware for expert advice and quality name-brand products like the famous Arrow T50 staple gun, 1266, a Wrap-On 13-foot solid-circuit automatic heat tape, 666.
Thank you, Sentry.
Sentry Hardware. We're ready to help when you're ready to do it yourself.
Here's Zadora. How do you do Dubonnet?
Any way I like. Do me a Dubonnet with a splash. Do me a Dubonnet with a flash. Do me a Dubonnet on ice. Do me a Dubonnet before we roll the dice. Do me a Dubonnet with a twist. Do me a Dubonnet after I get kissed. Do me a Dubonnet any way you like. Do me
burns down to the houses, but no homes are lost, and the fire's westward movement is halted for the first time. By 8 o'clock in the evening, the blaze is contained on 3 sides. Firefighters are in the battle, making one last stand against fire. At night, the Borate bombers can't be used. Sunrise, the air tankers strike at the northern edge of the blaze. Combined air and ground operations enter the winning phase of the battle. Fire is officially contained. The major forces are redeployed to Topanga. Only a few hot spots remain to be mopped up in Bel Air. The 3,500 people evacuated from Bel Air returned the very next day. And this must have been the hardest time. The ashes were still warm, and they were sifted through by people whose homes once stood there. For to lose your home by fire is more than to lose a building or shelter. It's to lose childhood photographs and high school yearbooks, the ring your grandfather gave your grandmother the day they were engaged. It's to lose a part of life itself. Here in the Jersey Pine Barrens, the State Department of Environmental Protection has done its best to discourage widespread development. They're afraid of fire, but Bel Air is rebuilt. It's still the most exclusive section of Los Angeles. The 500 homes the fire destroyed in 1961 would be worth today $500 million, at least. Miraculously, not one life was lost then. But every fall, the Santana, the devil wind, still roars out of the desert. And the people who live there know that one day they might face still another day of disaster.
Tomorrow night Omni looks at the advent of a genetically engineered growth hormone and takes you to the Houston School for Astronauts. Omni, tomorrow night at 7:30. Now stay tuned for That's Incredible next on ABC.